We moved to India for a year.
We went for a walk in the morning, and when we got back, she was sitting under a car. She just turned up.
There was a couple of street dogs in the area that really didn't like her and used to bully her. She would sit on the roofs of cars. She felt safe up there from the other street dogs. Sometimes they would attack her and she would get cuts and bites. Then we'd need to give her antibiotics and stuff like that.
She will go around and get chased by the other street dogs, and then she'll always come back right outside her house. Jalebi had that loneliness. Other dogs were a lot more independent than Jalebi.
She would just get so excited every time we would come home. We became really attached to her. When it started to get really cold in the winter, we opened up our gates so that she could come in. She just decided that she was going to live at our house. 6 months later, decided that we would take her with us when we left India. We couldn't get rid of her. We live in Australia, and when we were leaving India in January, it was still another month or two before Jalebi was allowed to leave India because of the rabies blood tests. When she went to Delhi, we found an amazing homestay, Cow Magic, that she stayed for 2 months. I was so upset that day that we took her to Delhi to drop her off at the homestay, because at that point it was still such a long process until we were going to get her to Melbourne, and there was still part of us that was unsure whether there was some test that was going to come back that was going to stop her from being able to leave the country.
Because India is on a high-risk country for rabies, they have to spend minimum of 6 months in a low-risk country like France or Singapore.
It was really stressful not knowing exactly when she was going to be with us.
Hi, Jalebi.
But we had lots of help to find an amazing lady in France who was happy to look after her for the 6 months before she could come to Australia.
You recognize?
I went and picked Jalebi up from the quarantine once she got back from France. As soon as she saw me, she recognized me. Her tail was wagging, and she did sort of this whiny moan as if she's crying or telling me off for leaving her for such a long time.
What do you do?
We were initially trying to get her to Melbourne, but the quarantine was so booked up that we decided to get her to New Zealand. So she had to do 10 days quarantine in New Zealand, and then we picked her up. When I got to see her, just like so excited, tail wagging, jumping up all over me, even though it had been 10 months since we'd seen her. She's now living at my mum's place with me in New Zealand for 6 months.
You're a good girl.
You can tell that she had some trauma from being on the street. She was attacked by other dogs. We also know that she probably got rocks thrown at her, chased away, which is why we're being very patient and taking things very slowly with her, because she's not like other dogs. She's very strong-willed and cheeky, but she just loves people. I'm studying full-time at the moment, and I can do that online. So luckily that's meant that I could move from Melbourne back to New Zealand, look after Jalebi for those 6 months, and then Jalebi and I will come back to Melbourne in June together.
Go for a walk?
We've probably spent about 20,000 New Zealand dollars, about 15,000 US dollars on the whole process, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
We just feel so lucky that she chose us and came into our lives.
She's that little angel we didn't know we needed.